Hey, back here again. You may have noticed on the other parts of this video...
I didn't post them yet.
You may notice on the other parts of this video there's a bit of echo. We were recording in a larger room, so sorry about that. Macs don't hold the best microphones ever.
Unless you actually have, like, one of those plug-in microphones.
So we're redoing this part because we had some editing problems.
My fault.
Because Nina doesn't know how to work a computer. And we will be redoing this right now and get this up when we can. Alright, let's do this.
I just bit my finger. Alright.
It has been only 4 months since I brought the young Rainbow Dash into my home. I've done what little research I could do on the matter, but I have come to no conclusions. I have no idea why she is here, and quite frankly, I don't even care anymore. These few months with her have been the most amazing time of my life. She has opened my heart up to love and joy, among other things. Right now, she sits next to me on the couch as I watch television. She seems to enjoy the morning cartoons on local stations, and I myself have come to enjoy them. She acts much like a young child would. Then again, why wouldn't she? Another amazing feat is she has been learning to talk. I'm not much of a teacher, or for that matter, a parent, but I am doing my best to help her learn to speak and read. I don't know how, or even where to begin to attempt to teach her to write. From the show, they did it with their mouths, but I will let that go for now. Once she's a little older, if I even have her for that long, I will do what I can to teach her. It used to be that a year would go by slowly. I would look forward to the new year, in hopes of getting a fresh start. Now, though, it feels as if the year went by a little too quickly for me. I've decided, since I have no knowledge of her actual birth date, to make the day I found her her birthday, September 17th. Oddly enough, that's the very same day that the second season of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic aired last year. I quit watching the show after Dashie came into my life. There was no reason for me to continue, and honestly, I don't have much time to myself anymore. It would be hard to hide me watching the show, and even harder to explain the situation if she were to ever see it, especially at her current age. She knew her name was Rainbow Dash, but I have come to calling her Pinky's pet name of Dashie, and she has no problem with it. She can fully communicate with me now, as well as read English, and she's even starting to learn how to write with, you guessed it, her mouth. I tried to invent some devices for her hoof so she could write, but it seems writing with her mouth is more natural than moving her hoof around. One thing now troubles me with her. Every day she sits at a window looking outside. I'm not worried about her being seen by passerbys. I'm on a dead-end street, so that's the least of my worries. Still, though, she hasn't told anything to me yet. I can see her hunger for the fresh air outside. I can't keep her in for her entire life. Ha! I keep talking as if she's going to be here forever. That isn't true. One day, someday, she will return home. Whether it'll be simply a poof and she's gone, or through some magical spell that Twilight shows up and takes her home to fix everything. In my heart, I hope that never happens. In my head, I know it will. It's just a matter of when. I do hope to get her outside soon. I've been checking out some of the abandoned lots and former parks on my walks to and from work, seeing where the best location would be to take her. Oddly enough, it seems the park I had played up growing with is the best option. Damn it. It seems that the park I had played at growing up is the best option. That shall be it then. I shall take her to the park. How will I get her there? She's relatively small, so she can be hidden inside a jacket or something. Tomorrow is supposed to be a nice day anyway. She did it. After 2 years in my care and having absolutely no knowledge of flight myself, I helped her learn to fly. She's gotten quite big in a couple of years, and it was getting hard to hide her while we walked to the park. I got so desperate to keep her hidden, I bought a dog costume for her to put on, so she could walk there unnoticed.
That just seems so jacked up.
She was not happy. So, that just like the idea of that's so fucking cute.
It reminds me of Invader Zim. Like the robot that wears the dog costume.
No idea what that is.
What?
So I got some books from the library to keep and read. So I got some books from the library and read up on teaching birds to fly. I would have looked on the internet, but I fear she would become curious of it herself. There are a lot of horrors on the internet, and she's not ready for it. In hindsight, it's bad enough she's experiencing television, but she has come to enjoy SpongeBob and NASCAR too much for me to take it away from her.
Wasn't there an episode of SpongeBob that was like speeding and racing and stuff? I don't know.
Back to the flying. I've I've been taking her to that old park for weeks, in hopes I could help her learn to fly. There's a large tree there, with branches sticking out over a sandbox, the perfect spot for her to practice. If she falls, and I can't catch her, at least she'll have something remotely soft to land on. She fell a lot. I knew she would fall a lot. There were many scrapes, cuts, and bruises toward her goal, but finally, after many weeks of work, she flew. It was only a short distance, about 50 feet, but she still did it.
It's definitely Detroit.
She's a little scraped up, but she's beaming with pride. Maybe now she could fly overhead, so that a few people on the ground don't notice her. I'll have to see if she can manipulate clouds like she could in the show. It would make it much easier to take her places. Then she can hide on a cloud when we go to the park. Another thing that has been brought to my attention. She asked me about having her own room. I got thinking, and realized the house does have a spare bedroom, though my parents had filled it with my old school stuff from my younger years, as well as several of my old toys. She might enjoy them, though she is getting older and I'm not sure how entertaining they will be for her. If she has her own room, I can get her her own things, so that she can feel somewhat normal. She's pretty smart for a filly, and knows about the difference between our species. But she still knows nothing about her origin. She's not ready yet. The only thing I can do is keep her happy. I only wish I had a way to buy her the things she wants. If you had told me 4 years ago I'd be taking care of a cartoon rainbow-colored pony, I'd call you fucking insane. I probably am in all reality. But I don't care. I'm happy, and she's happy. Today is a day for celebration, for today, my little Dashie got her cutie mark.
Yay.
I honestly didn't know how to tackle that fact. Repetition, don't like that. She didn't even know what, Azka's right, he's brought that up a few times. Repetition is annoying.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't even know what it is until I explained it to her. Now she's even more ecstatic than before. It was a normal park outing, but this time she decided she wanted to see how high she could fly if she could get. I had limited her to how high she could fly, but honestly, I can't do anything about what she does up there. I can't fly, so the most I could do is tell her to be careful. Somewhere she got it in her head to just see how fast she could fly, probably due to her being a NASCAR and, well, a general racing fan. For some time she was trying to make up tricks and stunts of her own, giving them names. I'd just sit on the bench I had fixed up and cheer her on. No one was ever around anymore. In fact, on that block, I think the last person left over a year ago. There are rumors that the entire area is going to be bought out by some company, however, and all this turned into a large manufacturing area. I don't know how to feel about that. This isn't her world. Oh, whoops. I don't know how to feel about that. But it's not important now. Right now, I'm so overcome with joy that my little Dashie knows her place. Granted, this isn't her world. She is still the same Rainbow Dash from the show. Regardless of how I raised her, she has the same spunk and attitude from the show, and now she has her cutie mark. Anyway, she climbed up to quite a height in an attempt to gain speed from a fall. Well, all the right things factored for her, how she positioned herself, her mental focus, and possibly me on the ground watching and cheering her. But she did it. She broke the sound barrier and created a sonic rain boom overhead. Now, I didn't even imagine it was possible to accomplish such a feat in my world. I knew you could break the sound barrier, but actually do the rainbow part too? My mind was blown. So, the initial explosion brought upon many broken windows and sent off car alarms in the next county. I quickly rounded her up and we rushed home before anyone could arrive at the park. I was lucky none of my windows were broken. Hey, I heard you like Max, so we broke all the windows in your car. The rest of the day was spent celebrating. It just so happened today was her 4th birthday. I have no way of knowing how old she actually was when I got her, so I just started over. I would have bought a cake, but due to the boom, all the businesses were closed and needed new windows. So we made a cake on our own. Apparently the fan fiction writers got it right. She can't bake at all. Granted, I'm not the best myself, but it was still a mess. But we had fun. She enjoyed herself, and she's happy. Therefore, I am happy.
I think, therefore, I am.
Though that was her highlight of the day, mine was just moments ago. She has now come accustomed to sleeping in her own room versus with me on the couch. I actually stopped sleeping in my room and kept her company in the living room up until recently. Now I can sleep on my own bed once more, but I keep the door unlocked. So if she needs me, she can get me. I had just tucked her into her bed and told her good night when she said it.
Good night, Daddy. I love you.
I haven't been on the internet in, 3 years now?
Could not do that.
I don't know how the My Little Pony thing online is doing, or what memes are still alive or not. But damn it all, I'm gonna say it because it's true. My heart exploded twice. For the first time, not only did she call me Daddy, which she has done on occasion, but she even said, I love you. For a moment, I didn't know what to do or what to say or what to do. I've never been in this sort of situation before. At least he didn't say I don't know how to tackle it. But I remembered what my mother and father used to do. So I leaned down and kissed her on the forehead and told her the same thing. Good night, my little Dashie. I love you too. She smiled at me and then closed her eyes to sleep. I walked out, turned off her light, making sure her SpongeBob nightlight was on, of course, closed her door, then sat down on the couch. I haven't moved for an hour now. I'm so lost in thought. The few times she had called me Daddy, I didn't think anything of it. I could picture why she called me that. Being with her so much made me accept it as part of taking care of her. But tonight, when she said those 3 words, the realization finally sunk into my heart. I am her daddy.
Well, funny thing is, I'm older than you.
She considers me her daddy, and quite frankly, I consider her my daughter. Even though we are of totally different species, I still love her with all of my heart. And it has taken her to speak those words for me to realize it. I think I have finally done it. I have broken my hard shell that had formed when my parents died. I've let a sweet little filly into my life, gave her a home to live in, food to eat, and now a daddy to love. She has given me hope, love, compassion, and now something I thought I'd never utter, a daughter. I still speculate when the time is going to arise that she goes back to Equestria. And each day gets harder for me to imagine when that actually happens. I just hope that she never forgets me, because I will never forget her. I believe Dashie is now at her full size. Rounding in at about 3 feet tall, she is fully grown. Though she is still only 10 years old, according to my math. I believe she's actually more along the lines of 14 or 15. Possibly in actual years. So we celebrated 5 missed birthdays and officially moving day. That's right, moving day.
Damn straight.
We moved from my parents' house thanks to me finally saving up enough money, plus getting lucky at a casino. We bought a nice house 100 miles away from the city. It's got a lot of open land. There isn't another house within 5 miles. It's just me and her. Now she can fly around all she wants, whenever she wants. She is truly happy. Though she does miss the old park. It's gone now, along with anything else left in the area. A large business bought up all the land, flattened it, and built a large factory there. It was an amazing boom to the economy, and people are starting to build homes again. I'm glad, but it just wasn't for us. That amount of people would hinder her going outside, and I'm not going to force her to stay inside all day unless it's raining out. I've gotten a new job, one that pays much more than my old one. Dashie even talked about getting a job. But then she remembered what I told her. The look on her face was heartbreaking. We were enjoying a cake we made, which I must add, we have improved upon that skill. When she brought it up, I jokingly said that she can't due to her being a pony, and I laughed. She remained silent. My God, I'm horrible. I just laughed because my daughter is different. I apologized for hours, and even though she says she understands, I know she's still hurt. Lucky, I have a way to fix this. Due to the sheer size of the property, it involves a lot of cutting grass. Tomorrow I will modify a lawnmower for her to use, so she can have a job. I'll even pay her, so that she can buy her own stuff if she wants. Though I'd have to get it for her. Still, she can actually say she worked for something. According to the show, she was a weather pony. And I don't have her mess with Mother Nature unless it's a dire emergency. So there isn't really any job to be had out there.
What would be considered a dire emergency?
Tornado, maybe? I don't know. I still can't believe I've had her for 10 years now. My God, time goes so fast. I wish it would slow down so that I could have more time with her. I don't know when, but I have this sudden feeling our time together is running out. All of this has been too good to be true. Today has been the worst time of my life, even more than when my parents died. Due to events I could not prepare for, Dashie found out the truth before I could tell her myself. She knows what she is, a made-up cartoon character from a kids' television show. She is mad. No. Upset, beyond all thought. She had locked herself in her room, but I know my daughter. She didn't stay in there long. She opened her window and flew off, probably into a tree to sulk in her sorrow. I'm a monster. I should have told her sooner. I just wasn't sure when the time would be right. Now we are both suffering from my carelessness. I thought getting cable would be a good thing, getting her some more shows to watch. But what I didn't realize was that we got the hub station. I wasn't even aware that it was still up. And find my surprise, the show My Little Pony is still even airing. It has stopped at 8 seasons, but it was still repeated. I remember I walked in from work with some groceries, set them into the kitchen, and walked into the living room. That's when I saw it.
Yay! She did it!
Fluttershy had screamed, jumping with joy as Applejack, Twilight, and Pinkie Pie all sat on the clouds with dumbfounded looks on their faces. My heart sank. I knew this episode. I remembered this episode. Even after seeing nothing of it for 12 years, I still remembered that damn episode. In that episode, Rainbow Dash performs the Sonic Rainboom, much like how my Dashie had years ago. At the time, I was still holding my keys, and I dropped them. They clanged on the wood floor. If she didn't know I was home before, she knew now.
How long?
Dashie asked me, no emotion in her voice.
How long have you known about this?
Dashie turned to look at me. She had been crying, and her mane was in even worse shape than normal.
How long have you known about this?
I couldn't help it. A tear ran down my cheek as she yelled at me. This was the first time in all these years she had raised her voice to me, and I deserved every bit of it. So I sat down, turned off the television, and told her everything. I told her about the show, about finding her, and answer any other questions she had for me. There were a lot. Most of them stemmed from the show, to which I simply told her what I truly believed. That though she is the Rainbow Dash from the show, she is herself. She herself is a different pony from the cartoon. I tried to explain it to her, but her bullheadedness took over as she continued to lash at me. I took it all. I deserved it all. I've been keeping that horrible secret from her far too long. She is now a fully grown mare, capable of taking care of herself if she were in Equestria. Here, I treat her still like she was my little filly. It's been wrong of me, but I couldn't help it. I didn't want this to ever happen, but I knew it would. I should have done what was right, but I didn't. It was only a matter of time before she found out, and she knew she was different. After our argument, she flew upstairs into her bedroom and slammed the door shut. I checked on her an hour later, and no response told me she had flown off. I can only hope she comes back, or at least, if she doesn't, she stays away from any other people. If anything, I hope some sort of portal opens up and she goes back to her world, and never has to think of me again. All I can say to her at this point is that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
If she's in the real world, does she look like the cartoon or does she look like an actual pony?
It's been 3 days since Dashie left, probably a mixture of the two. The night of her departure, I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I went for a walk. I wasn't sure where I was going or how long I walked, but that's what I did. I walked. Now, 3 days later, I'm finding myself out here walking again, once again. I've been out for roughly 3 hours, and though it is only 5 in the afternoon, it has grown dark. A storm is brewing, and soon I will be getting hit by the brunt of it. I turn around and begin to walk home, though I don't rush. My energy these past few days has been non-existent, as I have barely eaten anything more than some toast. I feel so lost that I walk through the woods that surround my home. No, our home. It is as much hers as it is mine, and nothing will change that. The rain has begun, but I do not quicken my pace. I just walk, much like I had done so long ago. The distant memory of all my pain and sorrow before Dashie began to seep back into my mind. I haven't had these thoughts in years. The pats of water on the tree leaves help keep me distracted. It's a peaceful sound, one you would never hear in the city. The rain is picking up, as my shirt is now soaking wet. I'm sure I will be sick tomorrow morning, but I don't care. I've been sick for 3 days now. A mental illness that has been tearing me apart. My daughter is somewhere out here, hurting, needing some comfort and warmth in this rain. I wish I could be there for her, even though she may not want me to. She may not ever want to see me again from how she acted. I don't blame her. It must be such a horrible thing finding out your past like that. I can't even imagine what it would be like. I know Dashie is a strong mare, and she can pull through, but I also know how she holds a grudge at times. I'm not sure that, even if she did come back, she would ever forgive me. Or more importantly, if I could ever forgive myself. It's now pouring out here. The tree canopies are barely holding back the torrential rain as I'm hammered by the water droplets. I stop to look around and find my bearings to return home. I'm not lost. Most of this area is easy to traverse once you get used to it. It's just I'm also looking for Dashie as I walk. It's the reason why I'm walking in the forest in the first place. I press on, keeping a steady pace through the rain. Suddenly, I spy a large, thick tree. Its stature sticks out amongst the rest, and from looking at the barely wet grass beneath it, I can tell its many branches are holding back even this hard rain. I need to take a break, so I walk under the tree and sit down. The grass is barely wet, with only a few small droplets making their way down. This is the kind of tree I'd imagine Dashie would hide under in this rain. I wish it to be true, but I saw no sign of her as I approached. I close my eyes and lean against the tree hulk as I think about my life, our life, together as a father and daughter. We have grown so much as a family, and have been fortunate enough to have very few fights. None of them were as heartbreaking as the one 3 days ago. I feel a tear running down my cheeks as I imagine Dashie's face again. The anger in her eyes, mixed with the confusion, just tears me apart. I want so badly to make things right, or go back in time and stop it from happening, but I can't do either of those. What's done is done. I'm so sorry, I speak out loud, not caring for no one is listening. I'm alone in these woods, besides the wildlife. In this rain, they are all hiding as well. And the ones that aren't are far from being such as I. I'm just so sorry, Dashie. I continue to cry as I keep my eyes closed and leaning against the tree. The rain continues to pour around me. An occasional drop hits my head, but I don't care. Crack! I open my eyes from the sudden sound and look to my left. I'm shocked at what I see before me. Looking at me with teary eyes herself. A bear.
What?
Looking at me with teary eyes herself. Sorry for ruining the moment for everybody. Dashie, my little Dashie, covered in burrs and tree sap, along her mane and tail, is standing a couple feet from me. She's wet, with both rain and tears. I hadn't heard her approach. Then again, being a bear, she was very quiet on her light on her hooves.
I guess this.
Sorry for the fuckery. I think I'll stop now.
My stomach hurts.
She doesn't speak, and instead walks over to me, not caring what noises she makes under her hooves. I don't move. I just sit on the ground and watch with my own wet eyes. She looks so horrible, and yet so beautiful at the same time. Her coat would need a good cleaning, but that was the least of my worries. Without a word, she sits next to me, not making eye contact, as she looks off into the woods. I can only look at her, wishing to hug her tightly and never let her go again, but I hold back, knowing that it would be all too sudden. Finally, she's the first to speak.
I heard you,
Her voice then got quiet as she whispers.
and I'm sorry too.
I simply smile through my tears. Her stubborn attitude was still showing as she always had difficulties apologizing. Dashie, you have nothing to be sorry about. This is my fault. Simple as that. It seems my point doesn't get across, as she finally looks at me with a sorrowful face.
Dad, do you still love me?